we get to make sure you sign in, please. So and write your name so that they can read it, make sure that you get attendance for being here. Too close? No, I saw her looking at it, going like this. I do that same thing in the movie theater when the only seats are up front. It's like, no. Thank you very much. So good morning. This morning we're going to talk about a subject that a lot of people causes stress, budgeting. So here's the lesson goals for today. You're going to understand the benefits of a budget. You're going to be able to list the 4 walls of a budget that need to be taken care of first every month. You're going to learn how to create a zero-based budget and strategies for those irregular expenses that seem to kind of throw you off when you're budgeting. The first thing I want to do, though, is on your table there are some index cards. I want everyone to get one, and using that index card, I want you to write a few words that describe what you feel or think about when you hear that word budget. Don't put your names on them. Just write a few thoughts or a few words. I'm going to collect them in a few minutes, and we're going to see what your concepts are about budgeting. Yes.
Can you explain what you mean budget?
Explain what it means budget. Budget is when you think about, I have this much income coming into the house, I earn this much, now I have to pay all my bills, and a budget is a plan on how you're going to spend that money. So do you have more money than a month? Or is all your money gone and you still have more months before your next paycheck?
That's what I'm saying. I have to stay under my budget.
Right. So you have to stay under your budget. So budget is a plan on how you spend your money.
Okay.
Okay?
So you just want us to write it down just a few things about budget?
Yes. Emotions, how does the thought of a budget or your finances make you feel? Or what you might know or think about a budget?
How do you feel, Mom?
Description only work.
Pardon?
Make a description or only work like
Either one. That's just fine. Just using words is fine. You don't have to have a complete sentence. So go ahead and pass those down this way. You don't need your name on them. I'm just going to see what words or thoughts you guys shared. What? Stress with a budget? Yeah. Really? Okay, Rosa. It's not being graded? Well, maybe it is. Money, plan, earn, save, bills. Money, save, earn, bills, budget. It's to have a limit, yes. Living your life under budget, stressful, happy vacation? Ooh, it's about money. Stresses me out. Ouch, painful, gives me a headache. I don't have one in place. Save and line stress. Oh, shoes and clothes. Stress. So there seems to be a few common themes when you think about budget. Stress, right? Making sure that you have enough money to make it through the month. So we're going to talk today about some benefits of budgeting. One is it reduces money-related anxiety. And anxiety means you're worrying about it all the time. It's very stressful. You can't sleep because you're worried about your bills and your money. It helps to give you control of your financial situation. And it helps you build assets, things that are worth money and that can improve your quality of life. So your house is an asset, your car is an asset. So you're going to build assets and improve the quality of your life. So the next slide, I'm going to show you a video clip of a gentleman by the name of Dave Ramsey. He's currently probably one of the most well-known experts on budgeting and personal finance management in the United States right now. I will tell you up front, he runs a business and he mentions some things that you can buy. You don't have to buy anything. During the class, I will share with you some free sites that you can go to and help you learn about budgeting. But he's got some interesting takes on budgeting, and I always love listening to him because he's very high energy and a very good speaker. So let's take a look and see what he has to say.
Imagine you've just been promoted to the title of money manager for a company called You Incorporated. Your job is, of course, to manage the company's money. If you manage You Incorporated's money the way you manage your own money now, well, would you fire you? Don't answer that. You have to tell your money what to do, or it will leave you and go to someone else. A written budget for the month is your money goal. People who win at anything have written goals. Goals are what you are aiming at. Zig Ziglar says, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Your money won't behave unless you tame it. Your budget is it's the whip in the chair that makes the money behave. You have to be intentional with it. You can't get your head, you can't operate with your head in the sand. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, so why do you spend your lifetime income of over $2 million without a plan? Well, there's too much month left at the end of your money. Well, it's because your budget doesn't exist or it isn't working. A study of Harvard graduates found that after 2 years, 3% who had written goals achieved more financially than the other 97% combined. You got to do it on paper on purpose before the month begins. Your budget is a written goal for your money. You need to set up a budget every single month. Don't try to have the perfect budget and the perfect month from heaven, because you never get one of those. Spend every dollar on paper before the month begins. Give every dollar of your income a name before the month begins. This is called zero-based budgeting. Income minus outgo equals exactly zero every month. Look at this month's income, at this month's bills, savings, and debts, and match them up until you've given every income dollar an outgo name. If you have irregular income because you're in sales or you own your own business or something like that, well, we have a planning sheet for you in the Total Money Makeover workbook. And if you get paid on commission, you're self-employed, all that kind of stuff, it works for every bit of that. It's called the Irregular Income Planning Sheet. You still must do a written budget before the month begins. No one gets out. You got to manage money for You Incorporated. If you're married, you and your spouse need to agree on it, and well, sometimes that's the hardest part. If you aren't working together, it's almost impossible to win. If something comes up in the middle of the month that causes the budget to need changing, call an emergency budget committee meeting. You Incorporated, we're going to have a meeting. Talk it through, adjust what needs to adjust. The Wall Street Journal reports that more than 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So you've got to break the cycle. Change your family tree. Live on less than you make. Save for rainy days. Live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else.
It's true. So, he is a national, he has a radio show that people listen to. But I find that he's got some good points here. So let's talk about how we're going to budget. So here's your family. Aren't those cute little kids? You want to keep them safe. But all of a sudden you realize, oh, I have to have money to pay tuition. Oh, the car loan is due. Rent, I don't have enough money for rent. Credit cards, oh no, they're always calling me to make sure that I pay them. But if you are in your budget, there are 4 things, we call them the 4 walls of your budget, that you need to take care of first or budget for first every month to make sure that your cute little kiddos and your family are okay. So what do you think the first thing that you need to allocate or spend on paper or plan to spend money on? What's the first thing you should budget?
House,
Pardon?
lunch, bills.
What's the very first thing? If you want to keep your family living from day to day, month to month, week to week.
Rent.
Oh, not rent.
Lunch.
Food! Yes. Everybody needs to eat. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you have planned for food for your family. That's the #1 priority. Make sure that you have something to eat and keep you alive. What's the next thing?
Bills.
Rent? Right, you need housing. You need a safe place to sleep, a roof that doesn't leak, heat, including utilities, heat to keep you warm in the winter. So I'm going to call that housing. So now your kids have food in their tummy, they have a warm place to come and be out of the elements and live. What's next? Coming up, almost.
Car,
Oh, something before that.
clothes, and shoes.
Basic clothing. The school district doesn't like it when you send your kids to school without any clothes. Don't know why, I think they're being a little bit picky.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they have the clothes in there or something.
Clothing, basic clothing. Does that mean I'm going to spend $800 on a purse?
No.
Nope, I don't have money for that. Basic clothing, Value Village, Goodwill. I used to go out to Shopko when my little boy was little, because at that time they had a guarantee if he wore it out before he outgrew it, I could turn it in and they'd give me a new pair. I had a cousin that my aunt would have to follow to school. He didn't like wearing clothing. So as he walked to school, off comes the shirt and he would just throw it in the bushes. He would take off his shoes and socks and throw them in someone's yard further down the road. So as he walked to school, she had to walk behind him and pick them all up and dress them before he went in the door. There's our family. So now you've got food, you've got housing including utilities, you've got basic clothing. What's the 4th one? Transportation. You have to be able to get to and from work.
Car.
There may be car. My daughter doesn't drive, so she has her bus pass every month. But some way to make sure that you can get to and from work, to and from school. Those are the first 4 things you should take care of in the budget. We call them the 4 walls of the budget. Because look at, now your kids are protected from credit card debt, car loans. You don't want to pay those if your kids are going to school hungry or they don't have enough food.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because when they don't have enough food, they say, Mom, we gotta go to the Costco. Yeah, I do.
Or they want to go through the drive-through, which is really expensive. Yes. So any questions about the 4 walls, first 4 walls of your budget? Make sense?
Yes, very true.
Yep. So now we're going to talk about what Dave Ramsey talked about in his video, zero-based budgeting. And we're going to do an activity in a minute. You're going to list all of your income, what you earn, child support, HANA, Social Security. You're gonna list what you take home first. And that's gonna go at the top of your budget. Then you're gonna list all of your monthly expenses. You're gonna start with food and housing. You may not need to buy clothing every month, but car loans, gasoline to get to work. Once those are taken care of, then you're going to fit the other categories in. And as you plan your monthly budget, all of your expenses should equal all of your income. If not, then you adjust your expenses until you look at all the money you bring in. You take out all the expenses that you've written down, including savings, and it should be zero. So that every dollar is working for you. You know what its job is. Your money should be working for you while you're working to earn it. So if you come to your budget and you've listed your income, you've taken out all the expenses that you need for that month, let's say you have $70 left over. What are you going to do with that $70 on your budget? So you're going to allocate, you're going to give it a name. You're going to say that's going to go into savings, and then if you put that in savings, you'll have a zero at the bottom because every dollar has a job to do that month. What happens if you do your income and you take out all expenses and it says minus 50? You've overspent by $50. What do you need to do? You need to rearrange, maybe take an extra $10 out of your grocery budget. You might have to pull money from someplace else so that you have income minus expenses equals zero. Maybe not pay so much on your credit cards. Your credit card debtors will call you and they'll try to intimidate you on the phone and tell you what a bad person you are because you didn't make your minimum payment. But I need to feed my children and family, I need to have a house for them. That's their job to be mean. It's nothing personal, so don't take it personally. Do what you can. We're going to do an exercise where we're going to make a zero-based budget. So you two are going to be a family. Let's break two families. Nobody's going to have kids in this one. So in front of you is a monthly cash flow. So you two are a family, you two are a family, you are families and you're a family. And you're going to fill out a budget. There should be some of those on the table. There are some calculators. Now, before you start, you guys are going to pick your income and what kind of vehicle you're going to drive. There and here, you don't get to randomly choose. And we're going to say that you all are both working. So, pick two incomes. You pick a vehicle. So you have to make sure those are in your budget. Notice that your vehicle, two incomes, one vehicle. One vehicle. Also has your monthly payment plus the insurance. One vehicle. There you go. Did you get two incomes?
What?
Did you get another one? No. Did you get two incomes? Okay, get another income. But your family.
Oh.
Two incomes per family, one vehicle per family. Did you get a good car or a beater? Oh, you got a pickup truck. Okay. So, here's what we're going to, I'm going to ask you to do. You're going to add your incomes together, and at the very top of that first page, in front of you, it says monthly take-home pay. You're going to add your two incomes together and put that total there. That's how much money you have to spend. Remember, you need to account for your transportation. And here's what we're going to do for housing. I went online and found out that the average expense for housing in Yakima County is $800. So we're going to say that including utilities, so your housing plus all your utilities is going to be $750 for this exercise, okay? So you're going to go down, you're going to put in reasonable food, remembering that you can't say, well, we're going to spend zero on food because we're growing everything ourselves. That's not reasonable. But think about what you spend on food, but remember you're doing it for just no kids, just families of 2 here. Think about how much you might spend on food, be reasonable. Gasoline for your vehicle. So you're going to go down here, through here, and you're going to put items, you don't have to fill in every single line, just ones that you're going to budget for this month. There's some more on the back. Be realistic. Then you're going to put your take-home pay again here. You're going to add up all your expenses and see if you come out to zero. So go ahead and start on that. If you have questions, let me know.
So, groceries,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And remember, no kids, it's just the 2 of you. Those teenage boys eat an awful lot of groceries. They want the expensive shoes, don't they? Yeah. And then that's when you tell them, get a job and you can spend your own money. How old are they? Oh yeah, he can get a job and buy his own shoes. And then all of a sudden, they don't want those new shoes anymore when they have to work for them. This is like if you give to a church or some charity. So we're not going to worry about that. Yep. And that includes rent and your utilities, electric and water and garbage. Yep. Yep. This is going to include all your utilities. No, you're going to add these 2 together. This is your income. Add them together, and that's how much money you have to spend, that you have to budget. Right, and then you're going to subtract what you have to spend on the various topics. How are you guys doing? Food.
Yeah. Only here?
Yes. And then if you want to budget going out to restaurants, if you have extra money, you can. But I would take care of the food and the housing and the vehicle first, and maybe a little bit for clothing.
This is where?
So this is going to be your vehicle, it's going to be transportation. So you're going to have, you got to buy some gas to put in it. Others is going to be the insurance, and then we pay for the car. Car payment is right there. Okay. Yes, per month. Yep. Remember, we're doing 1 month at a time. Budgeted. And then keep track of what you spend and see if you stayed on budget. Okay?
someone have a pencil.
What do you need? A pen? A pencil? Yes, let me get you a pencil. There you go. Okay, so we're saying that I said that 750 is going to include all your utilities, electric, gas, water, trash. Now you still have to pay for cable and phone.
Yeah, that's why we put
Yeah.
together. Charter and all three of those together.
Yep, yep. But we're going to say that this is all included in your rent. Okay. That should make it a little easier.
Okay, so,
What? I know. It is, but I wouldn't expect it to stay that way very long. These three are going, I said, are going to be included in your rent. Yeah, but your cell phone and your internet and your cable, you do have to budget for. That's good, it's expensive. Yeah, internet you need for school, usually. No, not every month, so we're not gonna worry about that for this month. And for your rent for this, I'm gonna say that electricity, gas, water, and trash are included. You have to do your phone, your internet, and cable. Okay?
No.
Well, it depends. A lot of people will bundle their internet and their cable together, and that usually, I think, runs probably like 70 to 100. You know, it's gonna be about $50 for the cable and like another $50 for the internet. So one good thing of a budget is all of a sudden you become very aware of how much things cost you.
So we have this one, these two, this one, gas,
So, right, altogether your housing, you can just put 750 and then, yep, cross those ones out, yep. You have about 5 minutes to get that budget to a zero.
medication, dentist,
Okay, right, you don't have, for today, you don't have any childcare. You know, the toiletries is like shampoo and deodorant and stuff. I usually put that in my food budget because that's where I buy it. I buy it at the grocery store. Yeah. Education, tuition, not yet. Yep. And you might want to plan to start saving for Christmas. You know, it's you put a little bit aside every month throughout the year into a Christmas account. Then when Christmas comes, you're not going to, oh no, I overspent the budget because I want my kids to have everything.
So maybe raise
Listen to that money going out the window.
Me salió barata, me salió cara 100. Con los antojos que trae.
Did you guys get your budget to come out to zero?
Not yet.
Not yet? Yep, at the bottom you should have zero. How did you do? Do you have money left over?
Yes.
Oh, good. So now you want to give this money a name and put it back in your budget so that this always becomes zero. So a good place, you can either up some of the information here or emergency fund. I would put it in savings. So I would put that $132 in savings so that this is a zero, because then every dollar is working for you. You know exactly where it's going. If I have $132 that's not budgeted, I'm buying a latte every morning on the way to work, right? And I would rather have it in savings so that when I have one of those bad months, I have some money in there that I can draw. Coming up to zero? Okay. Almost. One more minute. Make sure that budget is zero. If you have money left over, throw it in your emergency fund.
Do you want to pay, put the car payment?
Yes, otherwise they'll repo your car.
Oh,
$389, yep.
Why is more expensive than payment for that car this year?
Did you get a fancy car?
She picked up one.
She picked a fancy car? Yeah. You picked too fancy of a car and it will tank your budget and you'll never make the budget work. Yeah. Pickup truck. I don't know. I would not buy that car because it's going to take your budget.
That car was expensive,
We haven't yet.
It depends on the size of the pet. You get a cute little kitty cat. A monthly, or they have to go to that once a year, and that's about $70. But month to month, you need litter and you need food, cat litter and food. So I probably spend $20 a month on a pet. Okay. So I'm going to stop you where you are. Almost there. Just almost there. You're almost to zero. How much more do you have to spend?
Now I have already spent 2,220.
And what's your income?
My current is 2,000.
Ooh, so you've got about $400 left to spend. I threw that in the emergency fund. So here's one of the things about that. If you have more money than bills that you have to pay, one of the things that is suggested is that you have a $1,000 emergency fund for those months where things go sideways. Like the month that my son had a skateboard accident and shattered his jaw, and we had to go to Harbor View, and we had him on all these kinds of pain medicines. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't budget for that in a month. But if you had an emergency fund, you have money to draw on so that it doesn't have to go on that credit card. So I'm going to assume that you guys all have your budgets at zero. And now we're going to have an unexpected event. Oh, wait a second. I forgot about this. We're going to talk about fixed expenses and flexible expenses. Before we talk about that, fixed expenses are things that you can't change. How much you pay for rent, some other things like that. So that doesn't change from month to month. That's called a fixed expense. Flexible expenses are ones that you can kind of bend a little bit. So a good example of that is in the winter, your heating bill usually goes way up. Yeah. And so you tell those kids of yours, put a sweatshirt on, the house is gonna stay at 64,
Double socks and.
double socks, not 80 degrees, you know, blankets at night, yes, so that you can save some money. So that's a flexible event, a flexible expense that you can save. Now, here's a note you need to know. The creditors on your credit cards will try to tell you that your payment is a fixed expense. Yes, you do want to pay your creditors, but if you're having one of those bad months and you get food, housing, clothing, transportation, and that's all you can deal with that month, I'm sorry, I cannot pay you this month. There are some other things that you can do. You guys know that the utilities can offer what's called an even pay. They take a look at what you spend on heating for the whole year. They divide it into 12 equal payments so that you pay the same amount for 11 months. And on that 12th month, they make an adjustment either up or down. It's going to be about the same. And then they reset it for the next year so that you can actually budget what your expenses are going to be for heating and cooling.
They can do that in a, electricity too.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm. So that when winter comes and all of a sudden you have a $500 heating bill, if you have to pay a little bit more every month, then all of a sudden in the winter you're not hit with that heating bill. That's hard to come up with during the winter. So contact your utilities and see if they have an even pay plan.
They probably.
Okay, unexpected expenses. Some things you guys are going to get unexpected expenses. You didn't count on your car tabs coming due this month, so you have to flap them. Oh, you guys got a flat tire that can't be repaired, you need to buy 2 new tires. One of you has an ear infection that you had to go to the doctor and get some medicine. You weren't planning on that. You guys have to buy car tabs for that vehicle right there. And you guys get the ear infection.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you had your budget to 0. How are you going to deal with an emergency that comes up in the middle of the month? Well, first of all, you have to decide, is it an emergency? So I have an armchair at home right now that the little lever on the side is broken, so I can't put my feet up anymore. Is that an emergency? No. I'm sad, but it's not an emergency. If you have an ear infection, yes, you need to take care of that right now and get medicine.
If you need to go to the dentist, what?
Dentist for teeth, yep. So then you think, well, what can I do to pay for it? Can I take a little bit out of my savings if I need to? Or maybe I don't need quite so much gasoline, or maybe I can cut back on food, cover the expenses, because I still want to keep that budget to a 0 at the bottom. Can it wait till next month? Ear infection? No. Usually on your car tabs, they send a notice out a month or 2 in advance. So then when you're planning for that month, you know you can budget for the car tab. So that's something that can wait until the next month. Can I do a temporary fix? So the ones that got a flat tire, maybe I can just take it in and have it patched and start saving money for new tires. If it's completely shredded, I need to buy new tires. And they won't let you anymore buy just 1 new tire. You have to buy 2 so that the car is balanced, yeah. Where can I get it repaired or replaced for the best price? So you're doing shopping comparisons. Can I improvise? Can I make something do until I can actually save money to fix it? So these are some ways that you can handle those unexpected emergencies. Car tabs you can plan for.
Ear infection.
No, but you know, that's where you're on the things, if you put like $10, $20 a month in a medical, you know, set aside for medical expenses, that might be a way that when you're planning your budget, you can put some money aside, knowing, especially if you have kids, you're gonna go to the doctor. They're gonna get sick. You know, they're gonna break an arm. It's unexpected when it happens, but you can know it's going to happen. Does that make sense with
Yes.
how to take care of those? Questions so far? So, let me tell you about a site. This is pencil and paper, and you guys can take some of these forms home with you when you leave. But there's an online site that is run by Dave Ramsey. It is free. It's www.everydollar.com. And you can make sure that you can use the free side of it. They will, on the website, try to get you to sign up for the one that you can pay for. I've just started using the free one. It's an electronic budget, so you can fill it in. It automatically adds and subtracts things for you. So every time you add an expense, you get to see the bottom line and how close you are to getting to be zero. So that's a tool that you can use. You can do it pencil and paper if that's how you feel more comfortable. So that's one place to go. Remember, there's lots of places you can go and get free things. I've done an internet search. There's all kinds of free budget worksheets that you can download and print. Any other questions that you guys have? Was this exercise a little bit helpful to
It's
you?
helpful.
Okay, those are the kind of budget committee meetings that you need to have at home every month. And like you said, every month is not, one month to the next, they're not going to look the same. Okay, my kids want to be in sports, I have to save or plan to pay their activity fee. The car tabs are due in 2 months, I need to remember to budget that so I can pay the car tab. So, like he said, it's not going to be that perfect month from heaven that happens month after month. It never happens. You can plan for birthday presents, Christmas presents, all that kind of stuff. But once you start doing this and you know that your money is working for you, you can kind of relieve some of that stress of life happening because you've planned for life happening to you. Well, let's take a look at what you've learned today. Let's see if you can pass this little quiz. What are some benefits of a budget? Knowing where your money's going. Less stress? Less stress? One of the number one reasons given for divorce in America is money fights. Fights over money. If you are talking with your spouse about how you're going to spend money and you both agree to spend it that way, that should help it reduce the stress on both of you.
31st
That's beyond the scope of this class. So what are the 4 walls that of your budget that need to be taken care of first? Food,
Housing, transportation.
Clothing and transportation. If those 4 are taken care of every month, you know your family is safe and secure, and the rest you can just deal with.
House include the bills, power and water bills?
Yes, yes, because you want to make sure your house is warm and that you can cook the food that you bought and it's not going to rot because the refrigerator has no electricity, right? So your housing does include your utilities, okay? What does it mean to create a zero-based budget? Every dollar works for you. You've given it an assignment and it's going to work for you. And you have to follow that budget. If you write it down and then forget about it, the budget is going to work. You have to make it work for you. What are some strategies for those irregular expenses that come up?
It says,
from savings if you need to? Can it wait till next month?
some of
Or, taking stuff like if your entertainment's higher, do less.
Take it from other categories, cut a little bit out of each of your other categories. Those are all good suggestions. So this was Budgeting 101. You guys should have gotten this class survey in your first class, right? Okay, if you didn't, I've got a few extras. Make sure you fill those out, and please leave them up front here. You don't need your name on them. Does anybody else need a class survey?
I got it.
Okay. And then on those income cards and the vehicles, if you could leave them up front also, I'll reuse them for another class. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful to you. Lots. Thank you.
Thank you.